Happy Friday. So today we are going to talk about processing low grade wire. So there's a couple different ways of doing this, but there's a method that we've used and our customers have used over the years that works really good for low grade. And I'm going to just put some boxes there. I'm terrible draftsman as usual, that hasn't changed, but we're going to put some different boxes and then explain what each of those boxes are through the flow. So kind of like a flow chart. So to start, when we're doing low grade, we almost always want to have a shredder, SH, and this can be a dual shaft, a single shaft. I prefer dual shaft or quad shaft if you can. And the reason for quad shaft is low grade has a lot of gnarly bad stuff in it. So if you're using a dual shaft or a quad shaft, this is a chunk of steel or something else in there, it's not going to damage this shredder. So from the shredder, we go and we have a magnet. And in one of our other videos, we discussed the different types of magnets. In this one here, I'd probably use a drum magnet or a crossbelt overband magnet. I'll use one of those for this. So shredder, magnet. Now, after the magnet, we're gonna wanna go ahead and take that material and go into a mill. It can be a granulator, it can be a hammer mill or vertical mill. Typically, we like to use the vertical mill, and the reason for that is you might still have some steel trapped in. Low grade has a lot of brass. You end up with a lot of other hard materials. It can have stainless steel in it, stuff that the magnet didn't pick up. So now you have these kind of more abrasive types of material that can beat up your blades. So a vertical mill is more forgiving. So I would go from there into the vertical mill, and the vertical mill is going to take your material and give you kind of a granular fraction. Now from the vertical mill, I like to go into, you can go into a screener right away, and that is one option. And the screener, SC, the screener will give you different fractions. So if you do have some heavy brass or heavy aluminum or something in there that got in there, you'll be able to scalp that off. So you'll be able to take your heavies, we'll just go H here. So you'll be able to take your heavies off the top. Now you can also do this using an eddy current. There's a couple different ways of doing this, but the cheaper way is just use a screener. So now your fines are going to go to a dosing hopper, DH, and you can skip this step and go directly into a turbo mill. However, we like to use the dosing hopper for a couple different reasons. This turbo mill here, all delamination mills and turbo mills work better under full load amps. So if this is a 200 horsepower mill, you're going to be running at about 180 to 210 or 215 amps. So if you can get this thing to run in that range of amps all the time, you are going to have your best results and your more repeatable results. So your material coming out of this after is going to look way more uniform than if it was just going from 50 amps to 100 amps to sometimes 200 and back and forth. The way you do this is by putting a dosing hopper in front of it, and then you can control how much material you put into the turbo mill. So you control the speed, and also this is automatically set in our PLC. Once this goes down below a threshold, this can speed up. You can do all the adjustments and play around with it as you want. Or you can have this go full speed, and then it's just a range. Once it reaches this, it just pauses it, and then when it goes down below, it just turns it on. So a few different ways of adjusting that. Now from the turbo mill, we go to another, I'm gonna put it up here, another screener. So we did a screener up here to remove the heavies. Now this screener here is to give you fractions. Now you can put a one deck in it, which will give you two fractions, right? The material that falls through that deck and the material that stays above it. Or you can go with a 2-deck screener, which will give you 3 fractions, the material that falls through the first 2 decks and the material that stays on top of your first deck. So this will depend on budget and what is going on after. So for lack of space, we're just going to keep going down the middle here. So if I have 3 fractions, I want to go to 3 air tables. In some instances, if you have a really large plant, you might put another dosing hopper, and it doesn't have to be a large dosing hopper. It can be a small dosing hopper. We do have smaller dosing hoppers. Goodness, I can't make an H today. Smaller dosing hoppers, and then AT for air table. And At this point here, after the Airtables, and we made a video about this. We'll put it in the link below. We'll put maybe something up here. We made a video, and in this video, you'll see we did a really large version of this. And what we did here is they didn't have a turbo mill. They just had the vertical mill, but it was for automobile auto harness wire. But this back part we did like this. So we had the screener going into 3 dosing hoppers, going into 3 Airtables. And after the 3 Airtables, because it was for automobile type material, there's a lot of stainless steel, we had magnets. We had a conveyor with a magnetic head pulley, but it wasn't any regular magnetic head pulley. It was a magnetic head pulley that that's ultra high Gauss, so a very high strength magnetic head pulley, and it's made to remove the stainless steel that's in the chop. So what happens is this: as material is going through the line and getting smaller and smaller, you will have non-magnetic stainless steel that is getting beat by the blades. Believe it or not, those blades and that transfer and that heat makes that material slightly magnetic. Not very magnetic. If you put a regular magnet up to it, it wouldn't do anything, but it's just slightly magnetic enough that if you have a strong enough magnet at the end, it will take that stainless steel and it'll pull it out. So hopefully this diagram isn't too convoluted and you understand what we're doing here. But this here is how we would do the low grade wires, and it's also how we do other materials as well that are kind of the low grade category. If you're doing telco wire, you can do it the same way. Other telco wire, however, telco wire does give you bare bright, and if you were to do this line and only do telco wire, I would change a few things. So, but this would also do telco wire. So we can also make another video talking about telco wire and how we'd set that up. But for low grade wire and for low grade types of wires or anything that would fall in this category, this is our typical setup. And we can do this on a very large scale or a slim down scale. And the larger scale has all the dosing hoppers and all the different magnets and stuff. But if you want to do this on a smaller scale, we do have some small vertical mills and some smaller turbo mills and some small Airtables that can make all this happen. So hope you enjoy the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Happy Friday.